Shabbat Shalom. We arrived to Toledot. This portion is about the genealogy, but really there is no genealogy, but it's telling about the upbringing of these two special brothers, Jacob and Esau, and the relationship between a husband and wife, and I would say their issues and mistakes that can bring dysfunctional families. You know, we Jewish people, we say that we are the most dysfunctional people in the world because that you have heard this idea, two Jews, three opinions. And each one of us, we have the right to our own opinion, our own way. Sometimes when you have three people that have an opinion, the rabbi needs to decide among who is right. He says, you're right, and you're right too, and I am right too. Then everybody's right. Why? Because the truth of the matter is that there are many different faces, that you can see different things, and depending which area, which angle are you seeing certain things. But at the end, the final product or the final understanding is the principle, the value, the principle that is behind that the Creator has given to us. The understanding in this portion, we're going to say, first of all, I'm going to tell you something they repeat over and over again, and then it's okay to repeat over and over again, because we are circular, you know, in this way, and we repeat ourselves. In that way, we give more credibility and more emphasis to what we are learning to the time. Only that what we do is we add more to this building. It's like a building something. But one thing is, what is important here is that the Torah is not at all chronological. And sometimes you can get yourself in trouble because he said, how he can say this before this, and what happened this, and what happened that. For example, in chapter 25, we are seeing about the marriage between Isaac and Rivka, and we see the age that he was 40, and then when Rivka gives birth, he is 60, and you say, what happened with those 20 years? And then suddenly they tell you about the problem of the children, even when they grow up, and suddenly you go to the next chapter and they tell you about that there was a time of another famine, and they go to the south to get out in direction to Mizraim or to Egypt, and the Creator said, don't go there, don't settle there, and come back. And Isaac does the same mistake that his father did, Abraham, you know, about his wife. And at that time, it's obvious that they were without children, you know, because if they had children, Abimelech wouldn't put his eyes upon her, you know, and she was a very good-looking girl, but we don't see that. Another thing that sometimes we do not appreciate, because when we read the Torah, sometimes we read it so straightforward that we don't give ourselves time to look the insights. You know, the thing that the Torah doesn't mention, but I give it to you to think about. For example, you know, how long do you think it took for the man who was sent by the Creator? Many rabbis, they call it Eliezer. Doesn't mention the name Eliezer, but I call it Eliezer. And how do you, for example, think how long took it for the man to go to find Rivka and to come back and to give it to Isaac? Many of us, we say, you know, well, he took his train or an airplane and go there and come back in the same day, you know. But the truth of the matter, they needed to go by camel. And you know, and that was a long distance. You know, you have 6 or 8 miles per day. You know, you start taking time, and you want to see that the going and coming back was more than a year. Yeah, and then we know that when Sarah died, Isaac was 37 years old, no, and he got married when he was 40. There were 3 years in between. Then that 3 years took it for Isaac to find a wife. And Abraham Avinu sent his servant to find it, and he knew that they were trying to find a wife for him. It was not that he didn't know, or he was surprised, and he lived his own life. And we learn from that too, that he was a very calm person. He was not like his father. And he was totally the opposite of being a warrior, or being aggressive. Very low, settled, very calm person. Then, when they found a wife, and this wife has certain characteristics, and the characteristics are so interesting because many people say, the man, when he prays, that the Creator show who the person is. First of all, he didn't ask to be a relative of Abraham Avinu. He didn't ask that she will be beautiful and wonderful, in the sense that outstanding. But what he asked? He asked very special characteristics about the person. One of the things is the college has said that she has she was loving and caring for others, but was gracious. But at the same time, one of the characteristics that caught my attention was that she was a free spirit and she had a great initiative. Okay, free spirit. When I call it free spirit, she was not asking for somebody to tell her what to do, and she was not afraid to go. Because when they did the arrangements, and the father said, "Do you want to go?" Yes, she was ready to go, and she was not very young. She was a young lady, but with a lot of courage, very courageous, and very secure of herself. Exactly what Isaac needed. Isaac needed a wife that was going to help him to continue the line of Abraham Avinu and to continue the great calling of bringing the people of Israel to fruition. And in that process, we see little things, and not everything happened in one day. It took time. And we need to give ourselves sometimes everything that we want, because we live in the world of instant. Instant coffee, instant, you go to a restaurant, and if the restaurant takes more than 3 minutes to bring the food, you get out and you are upset. No, everything is fast food. Everything is fast. You go now, I remember more than 20 years ago, no, even 40 years now, when finally we had computers. I had one little one, and you need to get in, you need to go through the telephone, to get something, and take it almost 5 minutes to get the connection. Right now you sit down on the computer, and it takes 3 seconds. 3 seconds. You say, this is not good, the internet doesn't work, you can go now with little telephone and talk like Dick Tracy in the 50s, It's amazing. It's amazing what we have advanced technologically in my age. If I can remember, I was born before TV. The only thing that we had was the radio. For many of you don't even understand that.
TV was before you. No, 1938.
I know, but I am talking about me. Okay? Yeah, I am talking about me. I was born in my country, that was born in the country that was born, there was no TV. Okay? And in your country either. Okay? When you were born, you didn't have TV yet. Yeah. Okay. Uh, this is Mr. Baruch. You need to forgive Baruch for. Uh, you can correct me in certain things, but annoying things like that. When I am, because I am talking about my spirit, not yours. Anyway, and I was born before TV. I remember when TV arrived in my country. You know, my grandmother was one of the first ones to have a TV. And you know, and the neighbor who will come to the window that my grandmother had put the TV, and everybody was looking a little square with circle and circle and an Indian, and everybody looking and looking, you know. And they spent 2 hours looking at that. You know, that tell you the time that I was born. Then suddenly came the TV. I immigrated to the States, and was for the first time that I saw color TV. That was, to me, was amazing. See, color TV. And then after that, you know, you had the cellular telephone. And now this telephone is a computer, this thing. And it's so fast that sometimes I myself cannot slow down and say, wow, how I can apply all those things in my life. We go 4,000 years back. We go to the time of Abraham Avinu, Isaac, and Rivka, and they was very slow in comparison to us. Okay, and they needed to have a lot of patience, by the way. I don't think they were too worried about time as we are, you know. And we look everything that happened, yes, in the moment. But it took its time. Then we'll read about, suddenly, they have been living some time together. You know, we don't know how long they were when Rivka looked like was worried that she was not being able to have children. It's Isaac who requested, who interceded to the Creator for Rivka to get pregnant. Okay, can you imagine a woman like Rivka? Please tell God, tell your God, tell your God. You talk to me about your God, you know? Why? Because Rivka was not a believer. Everybody assumed that she was a believer, but she was brought from a very pagan world. They had their own god of fertility, but Isaac spent a lot of time teaching her about the God of Abraham, his father, the only God. And she started believing what he was telling was making sense to her. Then they say, please tell him that now you talk too much about him. Well, tell him that cannot get pregnant. Our sages tell us that the women that couldn't get pregnant, they then become pregnant, that means that child is special. No? Then, there's already giving us another quote there, another idea behind the scriptures. That when she got pregnant, something special was going to happen. Then she got pregnant, and the first thing that she has is problems in her pregnancy, you know? And she's having pains, and she couldn't sleep, and you know, you women that have been pregnant, you know about those things. And you are upset because of this and that, and then I cannot take it anymore, she said. And she goes to inquire. And to who she goes to inquire? To the Creator. Isn't that amazing? You know, I can tell Isaac, our father, I say, you did an excellent job. You were able to instruct your wife what to do. She went and asked the Creator what was happening. And she received a revelation from the Creator. Here where comes the problem. It's a wonderful revelation for her. And that calmed her down. And then she was not surprised that she has twins. Only she has twins. Basically, has the oldest and the youngest. The oldest because was the first to be born, and the oldest because was the second to come out. But they were the same age. And they developed these ideas. And she kept that to herself. The question that Arcee asked is, why she did not share with her husband about this revelation? Women, only you women can have that answer.
Maybe she did and he wasn't listening.
Yeah, maybe. But we know also there was a big age difference. You know, maybe it was a lot of respect, reverence, whatever it was. But here comes, then the children are very different, one from the other. First mistake of the parents, to take sides. When they say, this is my favorite, and the other say, this is my favorite. And when you do that, the only thing that you are going to obtain in your home is a division. I always, when I do family counseling, when the parents are alone without the children, I say, what is your favorite? And immediately they say, I don't have favorites. But this one and this one. And then I start learning the favorites, you know? But and I say, it's very good that you don't show them who do you like most. Because usually the one that you like most is usually the one that sometimes is the opposite that you are. It's very normal. Why? Because you see characteristics in that child that you don't have it and you would like to have it. That's all. That happens. But as you are smart, you don't do it. What happened with Jacob and Isaac, with Rivka and Isaac? Exactly what I am telling you. What was Rivka? Rivka was a go-getter. She was strong. Let's go. Let's go wherever you want to take me. 1,000 miles. I am ready. You know, I'm going to marry somebody I don't know. Who cares? I go. She was in the vanguard, going on front. And who was Isaac? Isaac was dumb. He liked to be in the tent. Then, who was the one that liked to be in the tent of the two twins? Jacob. Do you think Isaac wanted to have another like him? And what he saw in Rivka and saw in Esau, what they saw, being very independent. You know, this is a hunter, this is a go-getter, this is, oh, I like it. He bring me food that I like it. From the hunt. Good meat. Good meat, okay. And what Rivka wanted? I am the outgoing, I am the one that go-getter, but I would like to have somebody who is calm and calm. Because she liked Isaac too, for the reason, but the opposite. And they both declare their identity with their children, and that creates a crisis. But what is the problem with Rivka? Not only that, but Rivka lied to her husband and made her son accomplish to do that. And that was a mistake, because she put her son against her other son and lied to her husband. And doing that created a problem that is greater than anything else. Now, one thing that we can compare here with Sarah, that both these two women were strong and were very go-getter, both of them. But the difference between Sarah and Rivka was, with Sarah, She saw that she couldn't have children. And what was the problem? Listen, Abraham Avinu, if you read very carefully the Torah, Abraham Avinu never prayed for Sarah to have a child. Maybe because for him, her age was already gone, and that was an impossible thing. Why are you going to pray for something impossible? You know? But he talked to God that he wanted to have descendants. And God promised him that he was going to have. Then for him, what his wife did was okay. With Isaac was the opposite. Isaac interceded for his wife. But we can say Rivka was in age to have children. The miracle was no extra miracle, was only to open her womb in the sense of she was barren. The difference. But these two women did something. Sarah gave a hand to trying to help Abraham Avinu to accomplish his role. He decided to be a father and to have a follower for him. And Rivka does the same thing. She had heard the revelation, and the revelation is telling her that the one that is going to be the real leader is Jacob, not Esau. And what does he do? He's going to give a hand to the Creator to fulfill the role. And then, for that reason, she thinks that she has the right to lie and to deceive. And even she's so sure about her actions that she said to her son Jacob, who was very scared, afraid of that his father will know and maybe he was going to be cursed. She said to him, "Don't worry, if there is any curse, all will be upon me." And literally that's what happened. Why? Why do we know that was not a final situation very good for her? After that situation, that they sent their son running away from his other brother, you don't hear any longer about Rivka, and you don't even hear about if she died or where she was buried. Isn't that interesting? Then it's like she was erased from the map. No. The question is, her intention were good or bad? Her intention were good because she had a revelation. She would not, and she saw that Esau didn't have what it takes to be the leadership, and Isaac was in love with his son that was so independent, but he didn't see that he didn't have the qualifications to be a leader as she saw it. Her intentions were good, but what the procedure what she trying to acquire? If she trusted in Isaac as her husband, she will reveal to him what she had. She will tell him what is the situation between the two sons and what one and the other. She will tell, I am sure that Jacob tell her about that he bought the first born right from his brother, that his brother didn't care because they say the scripture didn't care. You know, she could go and tell that to Isaac. And Isaac was not an idiot. He was very capable to think about it. And here comes one thing that has been looking when I talk to people and do counseling. And to me, the practicality of this book. And I say about your upbringing and your background. That has such a strong influence in you that sometimes make you do the wrong decisions because you are so accustomed to that type of understanding. She came from a home where deceiving was the norm, was the way to do business or whatever. that was better to keep it, between you and nobody else, and then you will do whatever you want. You will, basically, you were a complot. What is it in English? You were trying to do something behind the back of others. No? And she learned that from her brother. Her brother was agreeing with what he does to Jacob. He promised the daughter, Leah, Rachel, and at the day of the wedding, what he did? He gave me Leah. And then later on, he gave Rachel. And then start playing with him in many ways, never telling him the truth. But in her understanding was, what is easier? I like what Peggy just said not long ago. It's easier to ask forgiveness than to ask permission. You do it, and then you say sorry. And she was accustomed to that. That was her nature. And what we can learn from this, from Isaac and from Rivka, because both committed mistakes, is that sometimes if you are not obedient to the Creator and you do whatever you want to do, you're going to suffer consequences. The Creator has not taken away from you the freedom to be yourself and to do yourself. But He gives you enough information, He gives you values that you need to put in practice. And sometimes those values are difficult to practice because you are accustomed to a different way. Every culture has different values. And sometimes the values of our cultures are not the best. And we need to little by little examine and trying to work on that. There are certain cultures that is more important what I look like than who I am. And that is deception, deceiving. And we play that role constantly. It's more important what the people think about me than what really I am. Today, we see it constantly in politics. The people always they trying to be accepted by the rest. And they become 1,000+1 faces. Rika played the game. Isaac played the game too. And doing that, they almost destroy the plans of God. But here there is another thing that we can learn from this story. And later on we're going to see it at the end. That is developing. Is that even though we see the reality of our heroes in the Torah, we see them as very human. As my dear friend David Dennis said to me this morning, we see real people that we can identify with them. And we don't see it now as Superman or Superwoman, but we see them as one of us. And we can say, I will do almost the same thing. And that's in my case. But now that I am understanding, I need to be more careful to do better. And in that way, when you learn the Torah, believe me or not, your home improves. Because you start having better values. And you start struggling with your own things. And you are having we call in psychology, catharsis. Getting away from those things that are holding and renewing your values. Maybe where you used to live, those things were okay. But now you have learned better, and you don't need to continue doing it. Then the question to me, to all of us, is what is the thing that I am bringing from my past that are still a stumbling block to me to grow and to do better? What are the things that are still holding me back? I met a person one time that she said that will never change. Over my dead body, I will never surrender. And I have seen the results of that statement. One thing is not to surrender your faith in the Creator, but another thing is not to surrender your bad habits, your bad things that you have learned in the past. A friend of mine said to me, Rabbi, can you help me? I have a problem with cigarettes. I cannot stop smoking. It's too hard for me to stop smoking. Every time that I go someplace, I need to smoke. I had a need to smoke. You know? I have tried the patch, I have tried this, I have tried that. Nothing works. What I can do? You know, I say, you know, when you have any type of addiction, you need to, first of all, discover why you had that addiction. Because the addiction has something behind you. It's something that you're trying to cover up, or something that you don't want to deal with it. There is something in you that you are running away from. And that helps you to cover up. Have you seen this illustration about the ostrich? When the ostrich is in danger, what it does? Put its head in a hole, and everything is dark, and I cannot see anything. I don't see anything. Nothing can happen to me. And then that's when the lion has the best turkey day. No? How many of us we do exactly the same thing? How many of us, when we are dealing with issues that are very hard on us, we decided not to deal with them? I want to think in something else. Like thinking on something else, the issue, the problem is going to disappear. Rivka tried not to mention, thinking that if she put the things in the right perspective, that was going to be okay. Have you heard that saying, needs two to tango? No? If you dance with yourself, you are in the wrong place. Then here, her greatest mistake was not to trust her husband. Ladies, I tell you, you are a partnership. You are not alone. Maybe you know better, and maybe you are more capable. But I advise you to share with your husband. Husbands, I need to tell you something. Be smart and listen to your wives. They have a lot to tell you. This is the situation with Rivka, and this is the situation with Isaac. And look at all the problems that came after. A lot of headaches. Well, we learn from them. And yes, the Torah is a beautiful book that has so many narratives, so many examples about our heroes of the faith. and they tell us that they were not perfect. But one thing that we see over and over and over again in the scriptures, the Creator, blessed be His name, the Borei Olam, never ever abandoned them. Shabbat Shalom.